Werewolf by Night, the first special presentation from the MCU, is now available on Disney+. It mixes classic horror with monsters and Marvel fans finally getting to see more of our favorite comic book characters on screen. The director and composer, Michael Giacchino, made a great production and left us with all the details that are easy to overlook. So here's our count of the 10 best Easter eggs and hidden details you might have missed in Werewolf by Night. Spoiler alert! At number 10, we have the opening credits and fanfare. The fanfare score for every Marvel movie has been done by Michael Giacchino, from all the way back to 2016's Doctor Strange. Giacchino, of course, decided to do it himself in his own production. We open to the fanfare reading out Marvel Studios' special presentation. Did you know it's actually modeled and composed after the 1973 CBS Special Presentations fanfare? Even the music composed for this part is influenced by the bongos and the tune of the 73 special. Exploring more hidden details, when we go to Marvel Studios' own fanfare, the screen turns black and white, right as it's ripped through by a werewolf slash. The music switches to a more menacing tune. Even the rip on the screen is 4 years, representing the 4 claws of Marvel's new werewolf as opposed to 3, which are the trademark of other Marvel characters. It just goes to show how hard Giacchino worked on the production. At number 9A, we have Jack Russell's dog-like habits. At number 9, we have Jack Russell's dog-like habits. The werewolf is a dangerous predator enslaved to the full moon, but a werewolf is still somewhat of a dog. Similarly, Marvel's werewolf is a human by day and a werewolf by full moon. But the show's main character, Jack Russell, even in his human form, has some habits that resemble a dog's. In classic Marvel fashion, the name of the main character itself was chosen ironically. The Jack Russell Terrier is also the name of a very famous dog breed. When Jack and Elsa are trapped in a cage together, he scratches his ear the same way a dog would, also smelling and sniffing her so that his more animalistic side can truly recognize her. In another scene with Jovan, Jack mentions that he can smell the blood on his hands. Now, this may not be completely literal, but seeing the amount of accuracy and attention to detail, there's no way to rule out the possibility that he can actually smell it. At number 9B, we have Ulysses' coffin. Once again, we can expect Marvel to always include small jokes here and there. Even with the presentation as dark and serious as Werewolf, Marvel adds a small little joke in the scene of Ulysses' funeral. If you've read the comics, then you know that Ulysses Bloodstone was a big hunter, so naturally his coffin was big too. The joke comes in when the camera pans to the back of the coffin, and there you can see a big sign saying "This End Up." Imagine how this moment would have turned out if the host had kept the coffin the other way around during his meeting of hunters. It's only for a moment, so we don't blame you if you miss this. At number 8, we have the songs on the record players. Once again, director-composer Michael Giacchino proves he knows how to use different elements of a film to effectively tell a story. Of course, he used many different sounds to create the perfect vibe for the show, dark and scary with elements of classic horror. But he also uses some beautiful vintage music to not only set the tone, but to deepen the character's story. We first hear Vera Lynn's haunting "Wishing Will Make It So," playing eerily on record players as Elsa Bloodstone walks. The lyrics of the song hint at Elsa's difficult childhood. Then later we hear "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" from The Wizard of Oz. Here the showmakers turn to special Technicolor, a visual and aesthetic treat. But this could also be a hint towards Elsa's life, a new life, as the head of the Bloodstone family. At number 7, we have the sushi shawarma homage. You probably remember the iconic ending of Marvel's Avengers 2012. All our favorite Avengers were tired after the long, hard battle. Then, of course, Tony Stark suggests that they all get some shawarma. The camera pans over to the Avengers dressed as normal people having shawarma at a little restaurant in the city. The homage was given to this wholesome Avengers scene in Werewolf by Night. After spending a night killing hunters in a violent rage spawned by a mystical amulet, Jack Russell and Man-Thing spend a moment of relief together, and then they decide to get sushi. The dirty, messy look some characters we love, and a moment to breathe, followed by post-destruction munchies. A Marvel classic. At number 6, we have the origins of a Man-Thing's nickname. One of the most notable things about Werewolf by Night is the creature Jack Russell has with him, the Man-Thing. Fans of the original comics could easily recognize the character as soon as the trailer dropped, but MCU watchers may not know what's up with Jack's monster buddy and his cute nickname Ted. The story of Man-Thing goes that he was once a normal man who, after a series of unfortunate events, dropped into a swamp that was actually a Nexus gateway. He now has a deranged look and can burn those who fear him with his acidic claws. But why does Jack call him Ted? Because when Man-Thing was human, he was a biochemist by the name of Dr. Theodore Salas, who notably used to go by Ted. In Jack's encounter with him, he calls the green creature Ted as a reminder of his previous life. As we go on, we learn that Man-Thing actually prefers going by Ted. Isn't that wholesome? At number 5, we have the voice of the narrator. Only die-hard Marvel fans will recognize the voice of the narrator at the start of Werewolf by Night. Like most horror movies from that era of cinema, this film starts off with some narration that builds the mysterious world we're about to enter into for the next hour or so. Marvel decided to add a hint of nostalgia and called on Rick Wasserman to provide the narration. For those of you that don't know, Rick Wasserman is a Marvel fan favorite voice actor who has voiced Thor across multiple Marvel projects and shows, including Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It seems fair that someone who has worked with Marvel for such a long time would get a little part in their newest production. Not to mention that Wasserman did a job well done. At number 4, we have Ulysses, Family and Death. If the voice of Thor didn't surprise you, this definitely will. At the beginning of the presentation, we're presented with beautiful imagery of the lore of the world of werewolves by night. If we take a close look at the illustrations they show during the narration, we find one of Ulysses' deaths. On the left lies a table that translates to Ulysses, son of Septimus Bloodstone, was slain on the last full moon of the year and the end of the bloodshed. This shows Ulysses Bloodstone was not a caveman, but part of a larger lineage of hunters. It also shows that Ulysses died during a full moon, or rather was killed during one. This could be a hint that he died at the hands of a werewolf, maybe even by Jack Russell, to start the succession ritual so that he could free Ted. At number 3, we have the references in the crypt. The MCU will never miss an occasion to make innuendos that reference different Marvel comic books and authors. In a Werewolf by Night comic, there was even a QR code to the MCU's Moon Knight's debut. Werewolf by Night was also mentioned multiple times in Moon Knight. However, in the special, they save all these references and hints for the scene in which Jack and Elsa are imprisoned in the crypts. Each headstone clearly mentions individuals who were instrumental in the production of Werewolf by Night. Jerry Conway and Mike Ploog, the creators of Man-Thing and Jack Russell, are each given a casket labeled Conway Ploog. All received one. Brian Gay, the executive producer, David Long, the props master, and Brandon Klea, the art director, all received one. We think adding the names of creators to the final production is a great touch, and it really shows the respect the creators deserve. At number 2, we have a hint to Dracula vs. Werewolf. Jack mentions that he's had a number of encounters with a particular vampire who is now mounted on the wall as he surveys the trophies, which are the heads of the numerous monsters the Bloodstone family has killed. This is perhaps an homage to the occasions when Marvel's resident werewolf battled Dracula in the comics. Yes, the Lord of the Night is very much a figure in the Marvel universe. Although he is most known for his many battles with Blade, he is also engaged in conflict with Werewolf by Night on occasion. It's difficult to tell if this is only a hint to Jack's past interactions with bloodsuckers or if they are preparing for further supernatural confrontations. We hope to see the battle against Dracula in MCU's future productions. What a battle it must be. At number 1, we have aesthetic elements of the film. It would be an enormous understatement to suggest that Werewolf by Night was influenced by the horrors of the past. In fact, it was construed on these foundations. There was one feature that not everyone noticed. During a few sequences, you'll notice what appear to be burn marks in the upper corner. These used to be called cigarette burns, and they served as a warning that a film reel was going to change. It's a small thing, but it goes to show how much effort was put into the production to make sure the film came out as authentic as possible. Well, that's a wrap for this video. Were you able to catch any Easter eggs yourself? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.